Hi, Vishal.
Uh, So, Prashant sir, this is about your. This is all about interviewing. How you feel about this mentorship and your journey about your company you're building, and we'll also discuss some points that why do you think that your business is investable. Uh, so, initially, thank you for this. For thank you for giving your time.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
So, first things first. What do you do, sir?
See, my name is Dr. Prashant, and I'm basically a dentist by profession. So I live in Bangalore, and I've been a dentist for around 17 years now. So I have my private clinic in Bangalore, and I have been practicing for 17 years. So this is my background and about me. Yes.
Yeah. So, you being a doctor, what business are you planning to do, and can you tell me about your business?
Correct. See, although I'm a dentist by profession, I'm a car enthusiast. Like I think most youngsters, I'm pretty much into cars and and especially supercars. For example, like something like Lamborghini or a Ferrari or a Porsche. All these supercars, I have always had a passion about these kind of cars. I think back in 2012, I visited my sister who stays in USA, and once I visited there, in Las Vegas, the supercars, they are like pretty common there. Like they are like any other cars. So you can basically rent these cars there, and like you can drive around and basically have a really good time.
Right.
And but back in India, I've not seen such an opportunity wherein like you can simply rent and drive such cars, because Lamborghini or a Ferrari, these super luxury cars basically are like very expensive. They they start from anything like 4 crores or 5 crores, and like which is not affordable for a normal people, say a middle class person or an upper middle class person. It is very
Right.
difficult. So these things are like for only for the super rich. I have been for example, in 2019, I was actually going to my clinic and I saw one supercar which was like going on the road, and I saw so many people like taking photos and videos, and people had that craze actually. And that actually gave me an idea. I think only the super rich can afford these kind of cars, not the middle class and the upper middle class people. Of
Yeah.
course, even we have those dreams of at least let me at least drive a Lamborghini or a
Yeah.
Ferrari at least once in the lifetime. I think every youngsters can connect to that kind of dream actually. So I think in 2020, like I had an opportunity to visit Singapore for a family vacation. And that's when I first drove a supercar. It was a Lamborghini. I rented it out for like 1 hour, and I drove it in the city of Singapore. And it was such a thrilling experience. I mean, it was more like a dream come true kind of a experience for me actually. And so that actually gave an idea to me, like a seed in my mind, I think there are thousands and lakhs of people in India, like especially youngsters, the techies and these corporate people and all, who would be if given a chance, they would be interested in experiencing these kind of supercars. So and once I came back to India, like I checked if there is any option, and frankly, even till 2023, there is not a single opportunity wherein you can just simply rent and drive such kind of a car. And this basic idea gave rise to the whole concept wherein we can I thought, let me start a supercar rental kind of a thing, basically a supercar rental experience concept, wherein like anyone, be it a middle class person or upper middle class, no matter what, if they have interest in riding a supercar, they can come, they can simply rent a car and they can drive a supercar. So this is the background about my concept and the business, Vishal.
What's your company name? Is it TurboRide?
My company name is called TurboRide, and the tagline is Experience Supercars. And I have been working with Mr. Praful for the last few months in how to take about this in a systematic way. Now, when I started, I just had an idea, but an idea is different, and executing the whole thing is a whole different story actually. So, in terms of that, I think Mr. Praful was of a really great help, and he kind of broke down the whole concept into small chunks wherein we can do some actionable steps. Like for example, first we came up with a really good name called TurboRide, and then we did some a website designing, some basic concepts in animations, and we registered our company called TurboRide Bangalore Private Limited Company. So, and I think in each step by step, I think we have come so far. And Vishal, yeah.
So that's very great that you have started. Uh, I would like to ask that how you compare your preparation before and after this mentorship with Praful, sir.
I think as I told you, like before I met Mr. Praful, I think I just had a concept, and based on that concept, like I basically did some research on my own. Back in 2020, I think before the COVID happened, like once I came back from Singapore, I did a small survey on Instagram asking people India doesn't have a supercar rental concept, I created a small survey asking like if people would be interested in renting a supercar and driving it in India, if there is something like the one which is available in Singapore. And to my surprise, in just 4 days, we received around 2,400 responses to our survey on Instagram. So that was one big boost to my idea. I thought, okay, fine, I think this idea can be executed in, if done it in a proper way, I think this can be really in a great thing. So again, like after a month, we did another survey, and we said that okay, in Singapore they charge something like 25,000 rupees, and if in India, if someone starts and charges something like 20,000 or 25,000 rupees, guys, would you be interested in renting it out? And again, like around 2,400 people responded, and they even registered on the form which we gave to them by giving their name, email address, phone number, and they said that we are interested. If something like this comes up, we are ready to kind of go for it. So that was one big boost. And but later on, before we could expand that particular concept, like COVID happened, as you know, and the 2020, 21, 22, I think all to 3 years, I think the pretty much the whole concept stayed in the idea concept in itself until I finally met Mr. Praful, Vishal. Yeah.
So, can you share some key highlights or maybe how you think that you have made your business investable now after connecting with Mr. Mufal?
Okay. See, after I met Mr. Praful, again, as I said, we took it in a very systematic way. And the first and foremost thing was we created a business model. We wanted to check what our objectives are. So the objectives, what we kept was something um, the primary objective is to provide customers with a memorable and a thrilling experience. See, riding a supercar is always thrilling experience. We want to make it as a memorable and a thrilling one. And let's say you go to Las Vegas, and when you go to Las Vegas, usually what happens, people usually go and do the gambling or anything like that. So in each city is associated with something like that. So for example, you go to some city and which is very famous for a temple. So I think in Bangalore, if we come up with something like a supercar experience kind of a thing, it could be a great boost for tourism or something like that, and a lot of tourists would be definitely interested. I think these points we made out, and the second one is accessibility. As I said, owning a supercar is very expensive. So and if you want to just rent it out, you have to go to Singapore or Dubai or something like that, and there is no such option in India. That's very expensive as that.
Correct.
So we highlighted some key objectives, and then the secondly, we registered our company TurboRide Bangalore Private Limited, The company has been set up. And the third thing is like, we have developed our website called TurboRide.in. And and we have identified two ski spots, and in one spot, like, we are actually developing a driving track of our own. See,
Okay.
basically, like, riding this supercar on public roads is always risky, not just for the customer, even for the car, because these cars are like very expensive. If
Mhm.
we just give the rent out the car, and in Indian scenario, what happens is, like, the traffic is like, very huge in Indian cities, metro cities. So we don't want to. We didn't want the customer to just take the car and ride it in a city and like end up with some accident or something. So we thought, okay, let's create a driving track of our own. So we have right now identified a land wherein, like, we are like getting started on creating a driving track of our own. So it will be a 2 kilometer private track. So wherein, like, a customer can just walk in and like choose the car he wants to drive, and he can just simply drive the car in the private track. So that seems like a more of a safer alternative than just like driving on a city or something like that.
Right. That's a very good idea that anyone wants to go to the track and select a car and have an experience. That's very perfect.
That's correct.
Yeah. If I say you, if I ask you that, what are the major three takeaways you got from this mentorship? What would that be?
I think the major three things I would say, I think no matter what you do, I think you have to do it in a very systematic way. You can't just be random in your whole business concept, because again, you are going to invest a considerable amount of time as well as money in this particular thing. So you just have to be very pragmatic and very practical about the whole approach, and in a very systematic way. And the secondly, I think when you're doing a startup, like, basically you don't have any experience. So I think when you have a guidance from someone who has already done some startups and has been successful in that particular thing, I think that is a very big plus point, I think, for me. Because Mr. Praful, I think he himself, like, is has started a couple of startups and has been successful in his journey. And I think, like, when you have a guidance from a person like that one, from a person like Praful, I think that's a very big boost. That's the second part. And finally, the third part is, like, once we have uh, all the ideas, a concept, and it doesn't make any difference until you have a investor.
Correct.
Ultimately, that is what matters. Once you find the right match or the right investor, I think your idea can finally become into a reality. I think that is one key point with Mr. Proful, wherein we get opportunities. I think through the interview or something like that, we get to meet some potential investors who might be interested in these kind of concepts, and from there we can take it forward. I think that's a very big plus point, Vishal.
Correct. Right. So, if I ask you, like, was there any wow moment during this program or your discussions with Mr. Prabhu? Any wow moment that you think that, yes, this is the
I
moment?
think not just one. I think there were many warm moments, because I think because turning an idea into a reality takes a lot of effort, actually. So, and when I see Mr. Praful, I think, and a lot of other students, like, turning their ideas into reality, because an idea, anyone can have an idea. I think that's
Correct.
not a difficult kind of a thing. But when I see his students turning that idea into reality, I think that gives a very big moral boost and confidence that, yeah, you, even your idea can be turned into a reality.
Correct.
And I think that's the best wow moment, actually, with Mr. Praful. Yeah.
If I have to ask you, like, we have discussed that how far we have came. If I ask you, like, what is your roadmap ahead, or
Okay.
what you have planned to do in next, what are your next few steps?
Sorry, I'm not able to hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
I'll ask once again that
Yeah.
we have discussed that. what we have done so far.
Mhm.
I guess you have discussed few things with Mr. Praful Chatrapati sir as well. That what is there into the roadmap ahead? What are the next steps?
Okay. I think the next step is like the next biggest step is creating a private track of our own, for which I think we have already identified the land. It's about 1 hour from Bangalore, and it's in a very good location. Uh, so we are in talking. We are still talking with the landlord, and probably in a few days, like we are getting into an agreement. And once the agreement process is done, like I think we will start the official work on the track development. So that will be the biggest thing. So I think once the track is ready, I think the next process will be much more easier. I think it will happen in a much faster way.
Right. Yeah. What is your message for someone who is starting out, who has an idea, wants to start their own business?
I think if someone wants to, like, turn their idea into reality, I think the best suggestion would be to just find someone who has already done it before and just take their guidance and do it. I think Mr. Praful is the right match in terms of that. I think because you need a mentor, no matter how much you know or how much experience you have, you need a proper mentor to turn your idea into a reality. I think just find a proper mentor, and I think you can turn your idea into reality. That's my message.
Thank you very much, sir.